Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be very different from what I've normally been putting out. It is going to be something that I've been thinking about a lot in quarantine, which is what would have happened if All Stars 1 was the same as the regular seasons of All Stars, not including season 5 of course. If you have not seen RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 1, it was a season where they didn't really have a budget to do a full line of episodes, so they had to condense it and made it all into teams, which made for kind of an unfair experience, which is why so many of the queens like Latrice and Manila and Alexis have come back to do other seasons. So if you haven't seen it, let me just round out the cast for you so you're familiar with them. We have Manila Luzon, Latrice Royale, Alexis Mateo, Yara Sofia, Chad Michaels, Chanel, Raven, Nina Flowers, Tammy Brown, Pandora Box, Mimi Imfurst, and Jujubee. So there will be no lip sync assassins because as cool of a concept as that was for All Stars 5, it's really not sustainable. I want to try to make this as consistent as possible. And I want to start off by saying I am not standing any particular queen. I tried to go into this with the least amount of bias as possible. And I even fact checked with a couple different people to see how they felt about the placements that I made. Episode 1 is All Stars Talent Show. So we're gonna make some leaps and we're going to assume that some talents would be exactly the same as those we've already seen. So examples being Jujubee doing her live singing like she did in All Stars 5, Manila doing her same painting bit. The decision to do a talent show removes that terrible photo challenge from this episode, which originally happened, but we'll get there later. So first, reading is what? Something not everyone can do very well. This is the only mini challenge that I'm gonna cover. And I would like to think that Juju would still use the Some Stars reference when reading Mimi Imfurst. Ultimately, I think that Juju would win this challenge. Into the main challenge, we'll go in alphabetical order. So, Alexis, we know that she did a killer lip sync and dance number on All Stars 5. We'll assume she does the same exact number. With Chad, this is tough because Chad's very talented, but would she maybe go for a Cher moment? Or would she do something similar to what Derek Barry did in All Stars 5 and try to show off some of her other characters? Maybe that wouldn't go very well. With Jujubee, I think she still would have live sang. She would have been excellent. She would have gotten some vocal filters that none of the other queens got, and she would be safe. Latrice, much like in All Stars 4, might do that questionable color guard number, and I don't think it would go over very well. Manila, I think she'd live paint again. I think she'd be safe. Mimi Imfurst, if picking other queens up as her talent, it would be very entertaining. I imagine she would do some type of lip sync. With Nina Flowers, I can see her doing something wild and crazy like what Detox did in All Stars 2 with the drumming and the painting, because that was fierce. Pandora Box would be interesting. She could do some type of stand-up comedy to show versatility. With Raven, this is interesting because she's not a dancer, she's not a singer. I think she could do stand-up. And I think she could be really funny. And I think, especially if she went right after Pandora, who may have also done stand-up, Raven could have outshined her, and that could have been a good production moment. With Chanel, she would absolutely do something visually stunning. Some type of visual art show, maybe modeling to a track. Tammy Brown, whatever she did, it would be hilarious and bonkers. And I think Yara would do something similar to Alexis, and I think she would bring the house to the ground. In this scenario, I see the following queens as safe: Jujubee, Manila, Nina, Tammy, Chanel. And I could see either Pandora or Mimi in the bottom, or safe. Because I think the producers would want to see more from Pandora, she would also be safe. So that leaves Latrice, Mimi, and Chad in the bottom. And I think Raven, Alexis, and Yara would be in the top. Raven could be safe and somebody else could be up there, but I think because they're trying to set something up, I think they would put Raven in the top. Alexis and Yara will eventually lip sync for their legacy, which I think would be a fun story moment. And with either one of them winning is possible, but I think they would both choose Mimi's lipstick. They already competed with her once, and they weren't happy to see her again. And if Untucked unfolded the same way, I could see the win going to Alexis so that she could eliminate Mimi for the drama. So that moves on to episode 2. This is the Rusical. I see this being more like Baddest Bitches in History, with the runway theme being like maybe red carpet. This is also the only time where I think a runway would even matter. This is a hard challenge to break down because the theme could be anything for the Rusical, and these are all queens who are excellent at lip syncing. I could see possibly the bottom being Raven, Manila, and Tammy, just because Tammy's not great in these types of challenges. Manila struggled in hers, and you know, Raven isn't the best dancer. She might not be great at choreography. I could see the top definitely being Juju because she did well in All Stars 5. And I could definitely see Chanel being in the top because she's one of the most fantastic performers. And this would be a good redemption moment for Chad to be in the top, especially after being in the bottom last week. I think this challenge is Chanel's to win, and I think Chanel would be competitive. And I think if she had the choice between Raven, Manila, and Tammy, I don't think she would choose the weakest. I think she would be competitive, and I think she would take Manila's lipstick. So unfortunately, Manila's out. That moves on to episode 3, which is All Stars Snatch Game. So this is before Snatch Game was ruined by Trixie and became the Snatch Game of Love. Sorry about it. I'm going to do a blend of the Gaffin characters because those characters were obviously brought for a reason, and some of what some of the All-Stars did in future seasons. So Chad is still going to do Betty Davis, Raven is still going to do B. Arthur, Chanel's still going to do Lucille Ball, Jujubee is going to do Eartha Kitt, and Alexis, I think, is going to do Walter Mercado still. Latrice is going to do Oprah, Yara's going to do Charo because that was fierce, Nina Flowers will probably do La Lupe, and Tammy Brown will still do Tammy Faye. Pandora is interesting. We don't know what Miss Box would do, but she was very funny in her Snatch Game, so whoever it is, I think she'll do well. On the top for this challenge, I determined it would be Jujubee, Alexis, and Yara, just based off of how Juju and Alexis did in All Stars 5. I think Yara, how great her Charo was in Gaffin, I think she could possibly channel that energy, and I think the bottom would definitely be Tammy because she's never done Snatch Game before. She didn't do really well in Gaffin, and Raven did not do well either, and either Nina or Chanel could be in the bottom. Really, I don't think it matters too much. I think Juju would win the lip sync against whoever she lip sync against, and I think that she would pick Tammy. If Alexis won, I think it would be the same thing. I think she'd choose Tammy. If Yara won, I think she would choose Tammy. I think they would all just be very underwhelmed by her performance in the Snatch Game. So that moves on to episode 4, which is an acting challenge. And knowing each one of these queens and their acting chops, let's go ahead and just move straight on to the tops, being Alexis, Latrice, Juju, and Yara. And the bottoms would be Chanel and Pandora, because this is an episode where we decided we needed to just have a bottom 2. I can see Latrice winning the lip sync for Your Legacy, and I could see her maybe sending home Chanel because it was her second time in the bottom, and Pandora had been doing pretty well until that point. So Chanel's out. Then we move on to episode 5, Queens Behaving Badly. This challenge is absolutely rotted, gutted, and wrong, but I still see it as being a valid challenge for All Stars 1. So we'll assume that the queens get to pair up on their own rather than being assigned. So let's put Juju and Raven together because they're great friends, Yara and Alexis together because they're friends, Latrice and Chad will put together because they were on the same season, and Nina and Pandora will put them together because they're the last ones. Honestly, I think Pandora would probably do better than Nina because she's great with interacting with crowds, where Nina might have a hard time connecting with random people, especially because her makeup is so intense, people might not want to stop and talk to her. Alexis and Yara would be definitely a safe team. I see them doing a one queen is high and one queen is low from each team. If it shook out similarly to how it did on the episode, Raven would do badly, Juju would do well, Latrice would do badly, Chad would do well, Nina would do badly, and Pandora would do well. So this leaves probably Juju to lip sync against Pandora, and I think honestly Juju would win no contest. I don't think she would eliminate her friend. So it's either Latrice or Nina who she's going to send home. And she could choose Latrice because Latrice genuinely do very bad in this challenge. Then we move on to episode 6. At first, it would make sense if this were a comedy stand-up challenge. But that changes the finale drastically, so improv it is. Alexis and Juju are the clear frontrunners, especially because of how well they did in All Stars 5 during that improv challenge. I can see Pandora or Raven also being in the top with them. And I think the clear bottoms are Nina and Yara. That makes Chad safe. So again, we decided it's a bottom 2 week because of a dice roll this time, probably. I think Nina would be eliminated regardless of who the lip sync winner was, because I don't know if all the top queens have as much of a relationship with her as they do with Yara. For argument's sake, we'll say Alexis wins the lip sync. Episode 7 is the Return of the Queens episode, and I love these episodes. This was a fun one to think of because it could go so many ways. I like to imagine that the queens would be paired up based off of who was eliminated most recent to the earliest. So they would get to choose who they wanted to team up with. The winner gets to come back, etc. And I think they would use the episode 1 photo challenge. So the challenge is half-baked and opposites attract. That's the challenge. So we'll go by elimination order. So Nina chooses first, and I think she might pick the strongest competition, which would be Chad. Latrice might pick Pandora, since they're so opposite. Chanel with Jujubee. Tammy wouldn't really care, and I think she would just choose Yara. Manila would pick Alexis, which means that Mimi would get Raven. I actually see Latrice and Pandora doing really well, and I see Manila working well with Alexis. I think if Raven doesn't get in her head about her pairing, she and Mimi could also do well. The top 2 this week is obviously Latrice and Manila, with the bottoms being Chad, Juju, Yara, and Raven, because it's one of those, the top queens are safe, and everyone who did badly is up for elimination. And because Latrice was with Pandora and Manila was with Alexis, they're both safe. I think Manila would fight really hard, and I think she would win this lip sync. And even though Raven has been in the bottom 3 times already, I don't think she would fault her for that, especially because she was paired with Mimi. I think because she was eliminated so early in the competition because of a strategy move, I think she might come back and try to give that same strategy back. So I think she could easily eliminate Chad for the same reason that Chanel eliminated her. Unfortunately, the winner of the original season, Chad, is now out. Episode 8 is the Celebrity Makeover Challenge, and I think a turn these celebrity daughters into your drag daughter makeover would be a really, really fierce challenge. Plus, we would get to see Kelly Osbourne again, and anytime we get to see Kelly Osbourne on Drag Race, it's a gift for all of us. So based off of makeover skills, I think it could shake out like this. The top being Raven. I think Alexis could do pretty well. I think the bottoms are obviously going to be Juju and Yara. And I think Manila and Pandora could honestly go either way. If Manila's in the bottom, I think she's going to go home. If Pandora's in the bottom, I think that Yara's out. In any case, Yara going home right now doesn't fit into my French vanilla fantasy, especially since Manila was eliminated early in this alternate universe. So we'll say that Alexis wins and sends Manila home because she thinks she doesn't deserve a third chance. Plus, do you really think that Raven would win in a lip sync against Alexis? Then we get to episode 9, which is the ball. We all love a ball. You know the drill, 3 looks. So I know it seems like I'm standing Alexis really hard, but I think that she could do well in this challenge. I definitely think that Raven's gonna do well, and I don't know if Pandora would do really great. I don't know if Yara would do well. I think Juju could do well. It really depends on what the challenge is. Alexis is in the top with Raven, meaning that Juju, Pandora, and Yara are all up for elimination. And in no reality do I see Raven beating Alexis, again, in a lip sync. So I could see Alexis maybe picking Pandora, unfortunately. So top 4 being Raven, Alexis, Yara, and Juju. Episode 10 is Dynamic Drag Heroes. Now you might be wondering, why is this challenge back? To which I respond, I like this challenge. I also love a stunt, but we'll get there. So the queens are not in pairs, but still must create drag super sheroes. So for the stunt to work, I need Raven and Alexis to be in the top 2, with Yara and Juju up for elimination. So the lip sync is Dancing on My Own, knowing that their best friends could be eliminated. They are both going to fight so hard to pick the other one. It's an epic battle. They both win the lip sync. Raven chooses Yara. Alexis chooses Juju. Shock, chaos, madness, confusion. Everybody is gooped and gagged that we are not going into a top 3, we're going into a top 2. Even Michelle's face is cracked. Then Rue says, "Fuck the rules, we have a top 4. A stunt. I love a stunt episode. So episode 11 is Top 4 Realness, which is the grand finale. So like I said earlier, I saved the comedy challenge for this episode. Basically, the challenge unfolds similarly, except no one talks over Juju during the interview, and we don't get a cringy racist joke. I think the interview is important because this is the very first All-Stars, so talking about a different approach to All-Stars is pretty critical. However, I will sub out the Hamburger Mary storyline. Maybe the interview will get cut. I think there would be a fierce moment like Red You Wrote You. I don't know what song it would be, but I think it would be great. So now I want to look at the fake track records to determine top 2. Alexis has done really well. And I know it seems like I'm standing her, but I promise I was not. I love Alexis Mateo. I love Raven. I really wanted Raven to win that season. But in this alternate universe, I think Alexis would do statistically better. So after doing some math, which I hate, Raven has 5 top placements and 4 bottom placements and 1 lip sync win. Juju has 5 top placements, 4 bottom placements, and 1 lip sync win. Yara has 3 top placements, 5 bottom placements, and no lip sync wins. Alexis has 8 top placements, no bottoms, and 6 lip sync wins. I swear to Michelle Visage's old tits that I was not standing Alexis. Even if I gave 2 of her lip sync wins to other queens, she would still have 4 wins, and it wouldn't help Raven and Jujubee by very much. For fairness, I'll give 1 to Juju because it's possible. So the top 2 for the crown is Alexis and Jujubee, as it probably should have been from the very beginning. I think based off of track record, it's pretty easy to say who should win, but what do you think? Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I put a lot of thought into it. I conferred with a couple different people, and we were all pretty unanimous that this would be the outcome based off of the challenges and how each queen did in future All-Stars that they showed in. Thank you so much for watching.